Little early morning racing for us, Thomas. Well, not really early morning today, but early morning show. Did you go to sleep? I've been up all night getting ready for this. From Thistle Downs to the Curragh.
I like my racing from the Curragh, so I took a good hard look at it and then went to bed and got back up, and I had one race to finish in the morning.
Yes, the Curragh, the Swiss. It's the Sean of race courses. It's the Swiss Army of race courses for sure. So the big race this weekend is the Irish Derby on the card that we're covering. Is that the showcase race, so to speak?
Yeah, and then Sunday's Pretty Polly's also the other big race of the weekend. But the card it's a good card. I mean, overall, there's some decent racing, and the field sizes could
manageable.
Be bigger. They could be bigger, but they're a lot easier for us to go through than trying to do 30
or 44. When you first sent me like the possible field size, I was like, oh no, here we go.
Yeah. Well, you knew that was going to be reduced because of some of the racing that's been going on. So
absolutely.
And there's also some of these horses. One of the ways to look at some of these horses, see what other races they're entered in, because they list them on some of these websites, so you can get some kind of feel for where they're headed. Whether they're going to be, is it a race in France? Is it a race somewhere else? And frankly, last time I heard, like Modern News is supposed to be shipping over here for Belmont Derby or the Saratoga Derby.
Oh, so, Saratoga Derby, we might be there. We'll be there for that one. Yes, indeed.
It's on a 4-star all-day weekend, and of course, last year it was won by State of Rest.
Mm-hmm. So you got a little bit of preview there. We will be out at Saratoga, the Horse Racing Today crew on 4-star Dave weekend. So if you're in the Saratoga area on Thursday, we're going to have lunch with some, if you want to join us for lunch, we're going to have a little bit of a contest. I don't know how many seats we'll have, but at least 1 or 2 people maybe will join us for lunch.
Oh, we have what we have.
Yes, indeed. And then, of course, we'll be out and about at the park. So, maybe we'll have some hats and T-shirts. Tom, you have a nice new shirt on right there. And this little golf shirt with the Horse Racing Today logo on there.
Well, remember, we needed collared shirts to go into the turf terrace at Saratoga. So that's why I got this.
First class.
Wear our logo and have a properly collared shirt.
Indeed. First class all across the board. No question, Thomas.
Absolutely.
It's where we roll. Okay, so speaking of first class, let's go to the first race at the Curragh. It is a 7 furlong Dubai duty-free summer Fillies handicap. And it's 7 furlongs. Let's take a look at the track. Where does the 7 furlong start? We're going to do the green one, right?
We're on the main course.
So we're going to be back here, and we're going to run around this little slight bend and then run to the circular stop sign once again. So from your experience at the Curragh, there we go. I don't know why these things pop up on your screen, but from your experience at the Curragh, 7 furlongs, that slight bend, any particular point of strength from a post position?
It'll really depend on how the track's playing. It says good to firm, but I also saw that there would be some rain. So obviously there's a race before this, and it'd be interesting to take a look at that and see what they do. Because I was interesting. Last year's winner of the Irish Derby was Hurricane Lane. And in when they were talking about Hurricane Lane in his last race at Ascot, they said that he didn't look in shape, that he had filled out a little more, and he ran to that.
He was a fat.
So, if you listen to some of this, either the Irish or whoever you want to listen to, take a close look to some of the observations these people are making, because the number one, they have great observations to make, and also you may pick up a tip or two of horse we liked, but should. In my playing, I took Hurricane out of my top choice.
Well, yeah, he ran like he shouldn't be even a choice. All right, so let's take a look at race number 2. As I mentioned, it's the Summer Fillies Handicap. Who do you like to start the racing on Saturday, for us, at least, anyway?
I am going to play what I think will be the favorite to start with. That's number 3, Emily Gray, with the draw 2. 10 starts, only has 1 win and 2 seconds and 2 thirds. Has 1 place against a stake. But frankly, she's been running against, I think, better company. and I think this drop will help her get into the winner's circle. She just needs to find her winning form, and I think they got a little aggressive, and now they dropped her into a place where I think she's got a better chance. I took 4. Marbling is my next choice, which has 10, draw 10. 13 starts, 2 wins, 1 second, 1 third. After a long break, it ran 7th, losing it into 5 lengths in a handicap. Yeah, it's back to my old philosophy. Sometimes they need a starter to find their footing. And I also like the fact in this horse that Colin Keane is returning to the saddle, and he has won on her before. And so I think that a nice match. This is one I don't see winning, but I think she's got a great chance to hit the board. Number 7, Night of Romance, which has draw 11, is going to be my final choice. It has 15 starts, 4 wins, 2 seconds, and 1 third. It's interesting. 6 of the races that it's run have been on the all-weather.
Mm-hmm.
And the horse has got 1 third on the all-weather. I mean, it's done absolutely nothing on the all-weather. Put it on the turf, and it's a whole different horse. And I think really, based on its last race, winning at Gowan Park in a handicap, and they're bringing it right back. And after showing nothing, it wins. That's really encouraging. And I think I don't know if it can compete, going up a little bit in class, but I think it can beat the rest of this field and finish third.
Coming home for third. All right, Tom, you had mentioned that horses do try to run, or they do run differently depending upon the surface that they're on. So, I don't know what it is about some of these European horses, but they seem to prefer either good or good, wet, heavy, yielding. So, of course, I focused on the horses that, A, look like they can handle the distance, B, they run well on a good turf course, and then C, have some experience, or at least run at a level I think they can compete against these. So I'm going to start with a horse all the way down here. Number 11, Curragh is my first choice. Your first choice is my second choice, Emily Gray. My third choice is number 8. This is my price play of this race, She's Trouble. And then finally, I'm going to close it out with your number 7, Night of Romance. So I'm going to go 11, 3, 8, and 7 in the Summer Fillies Handicap. The next race we're going to discuss is race number 3. Oh, no, this is actually race number 4, if I remember on the card, yes. And it is the Gain Railway Stakes. Is that the same Gain that they have over here for like washing your clothes, or is it something else?
I think it's something else.
Yeah, I would imagine that. They wouldn't smell it up with that. All right, so this one is a 6 furlong race. Again, if we look at the Curragh, and you got to admit, this does kind of look like one of those Swiss Army Swiss blades where you just have you have something for everything at this track. 6 furlongs again, just a little bit further up the track than the 7 furlong start. Got a little bit of a bend again, into a slight rise, and then kind of little falls off, levels up, and then they charge up the hill again to finish. Again, as Tom mentioned, pay attention to the first 2 races, see where they go, which side of the draws seem to have the advantage, and perhaps use that when you consider our picks. Who do you like in this spot?
I took the favorite in this one, too. I took number 3, Blackbeard, or Blackbread, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Draw 6, has 4 starts.
Beard. It looks like Beard to me.
And looks, A-wise, has 4 starts and 3 wins. He just finished 4th at Ascot. He was the favorite in a grade 2 there, or group 2 there.
And a couple others in here were in that race too, I think.
Yeah, they're a Crispy Cat, which is my next choice, actually. But on him, of course, the reason he was the favorite, besides Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore, which doesn't hurt for any good horse. He also is a grade 3 and a listed winner. And I think he'll run better. I think he ran okay. It wasn't a complete disappointment, but with the way the Riddler came over in that race, not in his race, I'm sorry, the wrong race. I just thought that it just didn't have enough there, and maybe a little bit too long for him. So I think this is a better spot. 6 furlongs makes more sense. And with that, I took number 5, Crispy Cat is my next choice, which actually was my choice last time out at Ascot, and he got beat and got interfered with as far as I'm concerned, and the way U.S. racing would be adjudicating these races, because the Riddler won, he got 50-1 and crossed over on everybody, including Crispy Cat.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was a good run as far as I'm concerned. And
Well, it's a good strategy if you're a trainer, right? The jockeys always tell us the strategies that they go over with the trainers: cut everybody off and then go win.
Everybody off and go. Well, and the jockey gets a vacation and still wins an Ascot race.
Mm-hmm.
He's suspended, but the horse doesn't get disqualified. So they have 2 separate categories for how they look at these things. And to me, it's very inconsistent. But again, that's how they do it, and we have to recognize how that way. And we may at times see some interesting things happen. And I think that race certainly emphasized that. So I took that one for second. I'm going to play number 2, Apache Outlaw, which has draw 5 as my final choice. It has 3 starts. It's got a win, a second, and a third. One last out by 3/4 of length at 6 furlongs. For the first time, this horse got a good track, because before it was running on soft to heavy and yielding. Finished in the money, but didn't win. I'm thinking the horse wants a little firmer, a little nicer track to run on. Mm-hmm. And I think you're probably going to get some decent odds on this horse. And it would not surprise me if this one won.
Yeah, it's 16-1 right now. Actually, it's in my picks as well. I'm going to go a little bit. I'm going to come down here to Sartash. I do agree with you. The horse to beat in here is Blackbeard. And as I evolve as a horse player, I've been doing it for forever. And you go through these cycles. And I'm in a cycle right now where I'm trying to beat the favorites. And I do expect that Blackbeard will be 7-4 right now. I think it'll probably be even money, 4-5, when the gates probably open. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if it wasn't, based on its who trains and riding, and also the fact that it didn't run poorly at Ascot. Let's face, it was a good race overall, but not a winning effort.
But the Sartash did open up his career at the Curragh on a yielding course, 6 furlongs. He only got a yielding course in both races. Won that last time out. I just feel like if he gets some firm footing, you're going to see him do well, considering the high level that they tried to, in terms of class rating, was probably the highest class rating debut for any horse in this field. Then I do have Blackbeard as my second choice, as you mentioned. Beat some of these at Royal Ascot, finished a decent 4th in a race that everybody got cut off. The next one for me after that is your number 2, Apache Outlaw. I saw what you saw, Tom. The horse finally did catch a firm track last time out and won by 1 1/4 lengths. So it looks like, and on top of that, even if it's not the surface, went from a soft track to a yielding track to a good track. Seems like as the track got firmer, he got better, or maybe he's just getting better, right? I mean, it could be that too.
These are 2-year-olds,
right?
We get form reversal going the other way with these, because sometimes they run unbelievable race, and then the next one is forgettable.
Yes, indeed. And then finally, Crispy Cat, been out 4 times, a win, a couple of seconds in the third. Horse has really not done anything wrong, minus that last track with the Riddler. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Crispy Cat actually do what you thought it was going to do the first time, Thomas, and take home the top prize.
And as I said, that was my play. I liked that horse and put it on top for the Ascot race. And I was none too happy with the results. But on the other hand, I knew I know their rules, and that was exactly what I expected.
So on Saturday, they have the Irish Derby. And in Ohio, they have the Ohio Derby. Not too long ago, Tom, Terry, myself, and Sean were sitting down with veteran and everybody's fan favorite, Terry Houghton, to go over Thistledowns. 3 races that we covered, the last 3 races on the card at Thistledowns for Saturday. So if you're going to do the Ohio Derby or any of those Thistledown races, make sure you tune in. Terry gave us some really, I think, good advice about which post positions are playing well and how the heat has affected the track at Thistledowns and what that might mean when you're looking for your play. So keep an eye out on that. And you're also going to want to keep an eye out if they're watering the track or not, because it could make a difference in how it plays. So if you want to learn about that, you can watch that here at Horse Racing Radar TV. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. If you like what you see from Tom and I, Sean and I, Terry and I, all of us together, hit the thumbs up as well, because those positive ratios work out very well for us. And while you're doing it, make sure you subscribe to our social sites at Horse Race Today. That's the number 2 on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Let's see, guys, I have the early win for using your top 4 horses yesterday at Delaware. I also listened to Rich the day before. I keyed the 4 and 5 at Canterbury. First 2 races being doing good, boys. Thank you. I would appreciate you chiming in, Troy. If you have any picks too, man, let us know, whether they're at the Curragh, whether they're at whatever track you like to do. You know, this is a community. We're all hoping to find
sharing
some more
information and sharing ideas and observations. And, you know, race betting is all about opinion. And, you know, your opinion and my opinion are probably going to be different most of the time. But we're all looking for the one thing.
Yes, we're looking for the one that go ching when the race is over. Absolutely, for sure. All right, so the next race is the Irish Derby. As I mentioned, we're going to go from Ireland to Ohio. In this particular case, we'll be in Ireland. This one's 1 mile and 4 furlongs on the Switchblade course, and it looks to me like they're going to start back here. Yeah, and there's some slight undulations, so fairly level. Then it's the Derby course that goes uphill, then downhill. You got this little interesting turn right here, which on the screen here looks tight, Tom. But in the real world, is it tight?
No, it's not that tight. It's more. This course is their turns are very, I think, subtle. It's only if you're on that inner course where it's a little tighter. The outside ones in the Platte course, the Derby course, are much wider sweeping. And if you've watched the racing from the Curragh before, I hope you have, but if you haven't, one of the things is they look like they're wandering out to a field where the starting gate is. I mean, it's not like our track.
It's not like they are wandering out to a field. They look like it.
So the other thing to remember, this is a training facility. We don't get the times, but keep in mind some horses that are stabled there training sometimes have an advantage, especially in some of the lower end horse races, but some of these top races too. So you gotta pay a little attention to what's going on and where these horses are based.
So who do you think has the advantage in the Irish Derby?
I went with number 5, Lionel, which has draw 4. This horse has 3 starts, a win, a second, and a third. Was he scratched? No, he's 11-1.
No, I said and you'll know why I said in a minute.
Oh, you picked it. He never wins or loses by much. He won by a neck. He lost by 3/4 of a length. He lost by 3/4 of a length.
But can he win if we both pick him?
Yeah, no, probably not. He is shipping over. Jamie Spencer's got the mount, and he's been running at distance races. I mean, they started him out at 10 in furlongs and put him at 11 and then 11. And so they obviously think they've got a distance horse. The question is the shipping and will he like the Curragh? Mm-hmm. And hopefully that'll all fall into place. I took number 6, Paz Bali, as my next choice. With his draw 2, has 4 starts, 2 wins, and 1 second. The Epsom Derby was awful, and so I tossed it. Won at 10 furlongs. That was the race before. It was by a head in a Group 3 race. He had Frankie Dettori up. We know some of the reading. If you've been reading some of the things with the Gosdens and Frankie Dettori, they're obviously not happy with his rides on some of the horses at Ascot. And they're returning to Galvin Ryan, who has won on this horse before. And I think that's a good way to do it. Number 7, Westover with draw 5, is my final choice. This is a horse that's not finished out of the money yet. He's got 5 starts, 2 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. His last out effort in the Epsom Derby was a third, and he went off at 25-1. He's run well at 8 furlongs all the way to 10 furlongs. So a little longer, I think probably won't hurt him.
Mm-hmm.
I got to put him in here for the money, based on his record and based on the fact that he seems to be a pretty game horse.
I
And I
agree.
like the fact they did. This is one where they went the other way, where the 6 horses rider is returning to the saddle. This one they tossed the regular rider for a person Colin Keane, who is a rider that is based over in Ireland and knows the Curragh very well. And so obviously an owner, I think probably more an owner decision than a trainer decision. There's probably a very disappointed jockey that he's not riding this horse. But on the other hand, I can appreciate wanting some local knowledge, and that does at times make a difference, especially on some of these courses.
Mm-hmm. I like I said, I started with Lionel like you. Right now, it looks like the odds here are 11-1. When you just look at this horse on paper, it debuted, finished second by 3/4 on a heavy track, and it started at a mile, which is a pretty good distance for a horse to start. Most of them start shorter sprints. Then it took some time off, so maybe it was a little much to ask out of it, and then came back in April, ran on a good surface, and finished third by 3/4. Last time out, second off a layoff, the horse finished won by a neck on a soft surface. So if a horse that starts at a long distance, competitive on a soft track, a good track, and a heavy track, that just tells me this is a good horse, right? It can run on any surface. It's close at the end, and it started off at a distance. So I agree with you. I think Lionel is one that you got to have on your picks. Number 2, my second pick is going to be the favorite. That is Tuesday. I'm kind of curious why you didn't put Tuesday on there, because this is the horse that really hasn't really done much wrong. It has the Curragh experience with 2 runs and 2 seconds in there, Tom. Never finished off the money in the turf, 1-for-1 at the distance. So it checks all the boxes. Can handle the track, does have class, can handle the distance. What was it about Tuesday that you didn't like?
I think the turnaround is a little too quick. Personally, this is a filly, and she gets the weight allowance for being a filly in this race. I just thought that it was a little too, she's run good races, but she's also thrown some clinkers in. Mm-hmm. When I say clinkers, not winning. Mm-hmm. And with this talent pool who manages these horses, I thought this was a little aggressive, and I would have put her in Sunday's race. Against the older horses where she get the weight allowance. Still a very important race, and I think it would fit her better than this place.
Okay.
And for that matter.
My next choice is the 7 horse, Westover. Like you, this horse has not done much wrong in its career so far. I wish my mouse would work the way it's supposed to work. Has run okay on a good track. The last race was the only one where it didn't really run very well. Outside of that, the horse has been first or second. I expect that you'll see some improvement in the third, start off a layoff. If you look back at its first 3 races, came out of the gate on fire, won. Next time out, kind of regressed, which is not unusual for horses making their first 2 starts, and then bounced back in the third race. Well, got some time off, came out of the gates on fire, kind of regressed in race number 2. So what's next on tap? The bounce back for Westover. And then I'm going to go probably with my longest shot of the day, Thomas. You're wearing off on me, my man. And I think maybe I'm wearing off on you because you're not picking any of these bombs anymore. But
it was hard for me not, when I looked at them, I just couldn't come up with enough good reasons why to pick the horse.
So I went with Boundless Ocean, the 1 horse, as my long shot play of the weekend here at the Curragh. Again, just focusing on horses that have run on a good track. Boundless Ocean has done some of its best work on a good track. Has a couple of runs at the Curragh, 3 of them, in fact. Didn't win yet, but does have 2 seconds and a third. And if Boundless Ocean were to come in behind Lionel in your exacta, I think that you would probably be pretty happy with that payout.
I would be very surprised if you weren't.
Listen, I would be pretty happy with that. All right, our last race on Saturday is race number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the program. It is the International Stakes. What's that?
Number 6, race 6.
Race 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, I can't count.
I know 1, 3, 8, 7. You know,
Yeah.
what's the difference, right?
I messed myself up. All right, so that gives you lots of confidence in the horse racing picks. Huh? Can't count the 6, but sure can pick a horse.
Yeah, well, it's the crystal ball thing, right?
So 1 mile, 2 furlongs. This one's going to start up here
on the Platte course. Yeah.
Yes, and then it's going to come down. This turn looks a little sharper here, Tom. Is it indeed sharper?
Again, I think that the map is a little deceiving. I think it's more subtle than a real. It's not Chester. Let's put it this way, where those turns are definitely sharp.
And slippery, apparently.
Yeah, yeah, slippery too. But I think it's a little more. Yes, there is you do make a turn, you come around, but it's not as like some of the courses in the States where when you have an inner turf course, and again Belmont is the exception. Some of those inner turf, like we're at Saratoga, the inner turf is very different than the main turf course, and those turns can be a little sharp. Mm-hmm. Whereas here, I think they're a little more subtle and a little easier to manage for some of this level of these horses, and because let's face it, these are some good horses.
Yeah, they are indeed. So, who do you think is the best?
I on the favorite.
What's wrong with you, Thomas?
From it, I took number 2, McSweeney. Has draw 3, 5, 15 starts, 4 wins and a third. Last 5 races, he's run all in Group 1 races, including one in Hong Kong. And his best effort was in October when he finished 3rd in Ascot. And so, he's just been against some stuff that is really good. Mm-hmm. Here's a Group 1 winner. He beat Poetic Flair at the Curragh.
It's a good horse.
Yeah, very good horse. And he does have 3 wins on this track. So I think this is a nice spot for him. And I think they placed him correctly to build a little more confidence and then move him back up. Mm-hmm. I took 1 Bear Story as my next choice with draw 7. It's 15 starts, 2 wins, 5 seconds, and 3 thirds. All races at 10 furlongs in the last 6 races, Group 1s, down to a listed type. This is another one that, it's a little class relief, likes the track, not going to get big odds as we have in the past, but I think it's going to show up and at least hit the board someplace.
6-1 right now.
And 3, Visualization is my final choice, which has draw 4. 13 starts, 4 wins, 2 seconds, and 2 thirds. Hasn't found the winner's circle yet this year, but did run a 3rd at the Curragh in a Group 2. I looked at the rest of the field, and I said, this one can come in the money.
Mm-hmm. So for me, I'm going to start with number 7, Vega Magnifico. That is my top pick. Just looking at Vega, sticking again to my theory of horses that can run okay on a good track. Horses got 3 shots on a good track. Has a 4th by 2 lengths, so it didn't miss by much. Took some time off, came back after a long break, so it probably needed a race. So that first race after, about 8 months, 9 months in the barn, finished 4th by 4 1/4 lengths. Follow that up with a nice run last time out at 1 1/4 miles, and it won by 3 1/4 lengths. So horse is definitely on the improve, and I expect that you'll see further improvement from Vega Magnifico on Saturday. I went with number 4, Rumbles of Thunder, as my second choice. Again, a horse that has done pretty well on the good surface. It's not run in a while, but it's run at the distance 2 times and won both of them. This is what I call the all or nothing type. The horse either wins or doesn't finish in the money at all. So I probably should have put him first or put him last in my picks, but if he gets off to a good start and he's near the front, I think you got a pretty good shot of seeing this one bring home the top prize, or he won't do anything at all. I agree with you. Max Sweeney is the class of the field here. He probably will be the betting favorite, although like right now he looks like he's about 3-1, so that's really a lukewarm favorite. But I do think you'll see a horse that performs well on the Curragh perform well there again. And then finally, closing it out with your choice as well, number 1, Bear Story. And of course, we both live in Chicagoland area. We've made some hay with Go Bears Go. So you have to have Bear Story here as well. No other reason other than it's a local angle.
Yeah, the only Irish horse that we haven't bet on yet is Chicago Bear.
Okay, have we seen that horse yet?
We haven't seen that horse yet.
Yeah, that probably explains it. All right, we're going to skip forward to Sunday now. Let me see if I can count this time around, Thomas. 1, 2, 3. Race number 5. Race number 5 on Sunday. It is the Pretty Polly Stakes. What do you see going on? And now you say there's supposed to be some rain. Is the rain supposed to come between Saturday and Sunday, or?
They said showers possible on Saturday. So right now the course is rated good. The Irish do their ratings a little different than the English do. We'll have good. We have firm, so they don't list it as firm. They list it as good. Mm-hmm. Yielding, which we do have here. They have soft, and they have heavy, and then they'll sometimes rank it as heavy to soft. And so it's a little more finite, if you want to call it that, than the English, which you get good to firm, good to soft in places. It's just, so you've got to, as I said, sometimes the commentators can help you a little bit because a number of them go out on these courses and walk them like the jockeys and the trainers do. And they were looking for the best place to run. And some of you, with local knowledge, you can understand better where you should place your horse.
It just sounds like they're describing older guys. Firm in this area, soft to firm in this area, soft to heavy here. I think you can use that. Okay, mile and 2 furlongs again. Going to start off on the plate course. Come down, make what does look like a sharp turn on the screen is not such a sharp turn. Go downhill after they go uphill and then come back to the circular stop sign. I didn't have as much information available to me on Sunday races as I did for Saturday, so I had to really do basic handicapping here, Thomas. Track, distance, surface, and pretty much jockey trainer, that sort of stuff. But anyway, the field's not that deep. Who do you like?
Well, it's deep in quality.
That for sure, but not in numbers.
Not in numbers, no. But I went with one of the ones I think will be the favorite, which is number 2, the Petite Coco, with draw 6. Mm-hmm. She has 7 starts, 4 wins, and a second. She hasn't raced since September, and in that race she beat Love by a head in a Group 2 race at the Curragh. So first start off the layoff, a little concerned, but she has won before. And she is a Group 2 and Group 3 winner. And, they're stepping her up a little here. But she's one of those ones I call slowly developing. I mean, last year, she started in the maiden ranks and rose up to the Group 2 level. That's pretty good and pretty rapid improvement. Mm-hmm. Number 8, Purple Pay is my next choice with draw 1. She has 10 starts, 4 wins, 2 seconds, and 2/3. Her last race was at a mile at Chantilly, and she won by 2.5 lengths, and it was I think, visually impressive race. She ran in the 1 mile or the 1,000 guineas, and lost to a very good horse. And she didn't, it just looked like she needed that start because she hadn't raced in a while. But she's also been based in France, where she has the 3 wins, and she's won at just over a mile distance. So that's always nice to see. Mm-hmm. I think she'll be good here. I think this is a good spot for her. The first run of the year, you can kind of dismiss. The second run, she came back and won at Chantilly. Now she's a 3-year-old running against older horses, which means she gets a weight allowance. Mm-hmm. At this time of year, that's what happens to them. So she gets pretty often, my top choice gets a bunch of weight. And if that equates to correctly, it's usually about a half a length per 5 pounds. So that may be the difference between winning and losing. Finally, I took number 3, my Astra, which has draw 7 is my next choice. 5 starts, 3 wins, 1 second, 1 third. Unbelievable win last time at Ayr. Ran at 10 furlongs, won by 12 lengths. Frankly, it could have been a lot more. She's a late developer. Her first start wasn't until July of 2021. And that she started on, this season she started on the all-weather at Kempton at an 8 furlong race. She was the favorite. She ran third by half a length. Well, she obviously rebounded because she came right back at Ayr in a listed race and clobbered the field. This is her first big time step up. But if she has the form and she come run after that her last run, she's gonna be right there.
Yeah, I think 12 length wins is an indication of decent form. I'm starting where you started, La Petite Coco. So that means in 5 races we have the same horse on top in 2. Let's see how they work.
We're in big trouble.
At least on those 2, anyway. My second choice is number 1, Dream Loper, and then my third choice, number 6, Concert Hall. And then I'm going to finally, and you can't go wrong with Ryan Morton, Aidan O'Brien. And then finally, I'm going to finish up the Sunday pick with number 4, Ross Carberry, with Wayne Lorden and Twoney. Don't even know who they are. But
and again, Wayne Lorden is he also rides. He's like a second rider for Aidan O'Brien, so he won't necessarily get the top horses, but he gets the second tier, second stringers, or when Ryan Moore is on the road, so to speak, and being in England or France or wherever, Wayne will pick up those mounts, and he is definitely a very accomplished rider.
And again, I focused on horses that look.
If you click on him, as you can do with any of these on this site, if you go here, you'll get his current race records, and what he's done this season. So some idea and some percentages and how much money he's won. And he's won a few bucks, as you can see.
Yeah, a couple pounds.
Yeah, and again, so he does okay. And then he also, if you go down a little farther, you can see how many rides he's had in the last 14 days, and it'll give you his percentage. And then, of course, his rides coming up.
So I again focused on form, recent form here, horses that have run well on the good courses and seem like they can handle the distance, because as I mentioned, there wasn't as much in terms of information available on Sunday. What I will do too, as we always do, I will put up Tom's picks, my picks, over to horseracingtoday.net. I'll link off to some free resources for you as well. So some past performances. Right now, the Saturday past performances are up. The Sundays are not. So once the Sunday comes up, I'll make sure I add it to that. Of course, you can get a whole lot of other stuff over at horseracingtoday.net, including Terry's best bet of the day, which today is at Pleasanton. Not sure what he's doing tomorrow. So make sure you head over to horseracingtoday.net. Check out all the stuff that's available over there. Hit the HRT gear link in the menu. Support the show. Get yourself a nice Horse Racing Today shirt. Tom will be making some of those. We'll see if we can make those available online as well, in case you're going to hit someplace as sophisticated where they expect a better crowd with a collar like Saratoga. So we'll make those available too. If you're just going to go to the
grandstands, you can wear whatever you want.
Yeah, I'll be out there with my T-shirt on. All right, and then of course tomorrow on Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern, our Chris Parmalu and Eddie C will get together for show number 2. So the second off a layoff, or second from the start. What are you going to call that? That's not off a layoff, but for the spot plays.
They're not quite a layoff, but they're did pretty well the first weekend. Let's see what they can do on this Saturday.
Yeah, Chris definitely, he like we both like to work on like data and then visualizing it. So he's working on some really cool stuff that he'll display and debut over there at Horse Racing on tomorrow's show, Spot Plays. They'll also be covering the big races at Thistledown. So it'll be interesting to see what their takes are, what our takes are, and then what TD had to say. So make sure you check all that out. Again, if you haven't done it and you're going to bet on Thistledowns this weekend for the Ohio Derby, it is a must listen to TD, because he, again, identifies which posts you might want to look at and how all this heat in the Midwest has impacted the track there and what it might mean in terms of the types of horses that can find the winner's circle. All right, Thomas, that wraps up this week. Any inclination of what you have on tap for next week?
Let me look it up real quick. I think, if I remember correctly, which I don't because I'm old and stuff happens.
Yes.
Some
cobwebs also up there with brain cells.
We're going to cover Sandown.
Okay.
Next week. They've got some one sprint race that is very big, and it'd be very interesting to take a look at that. We haven't been to Sandown, I don't think, at all. So
no, I think we did it once before.
Oh, once? Okay.
I remember the name.
I didn't remember. But yeah, that'll be. And then the week after that, we have the beginning in July. Sandown's July too, but we have the Newmarket July Festival, and there's a race at York, which is one of the top races. So we got some good stuff coming up.
Looking for it for sure. And then, of course, Monday, Terry and I will be back at noon where we will cover Parks. And I think Parks has 2 stakes races Monday, so make sure you check that out. So
and if you subscribe to their newsletter from the Pennsylvania, you can get free. They have links to free past performances, and I also saw it on Twitter that they were offering that. So you can get Saturday's card and Monday's card if you want for the right price.
Free, absolutely. So we'll be back for that on Monday. Between here and there, any final thoughts of wisdom, Tom, before we check out and head on to our weekends?
Survive, make
in
good
advance.
Hopefully, some of our joint picks win, so we can toot our own horn. But on the other hand, you got to take a look at those races and see what you can find.
Yes, fade away. All right, Thomas. Like Kobe in his career, fade away. That wraps it up for today. No matter if you're betting at the Curragh on Saturday, Thistledowns, whatever you're doing on Friday or Sunday, we certainly hope that whether you're with the family, out barbecuing, betting on the horses, whatever you're doing, Thomas, that they end up in the
winner's circle.
Indeed. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks for spending your time with us today. Have a great, great day.